Okay, so picture this. A small soup bun shop in Seattle. You know the kind, always kind of damp from the rain, steam fogging up the windows. It's run by a guy named Jake Moreau, and as far as he knows, his life is just one simple, predictable routine. But what we're about to find out is that the master broth he tends to every single day, well, it's holding secrets that are way, way darker than any family recipe. This was the whole philosophy of the shop's original owner, Ronald Vost, who was supposedly Jake's uncle. His big idea was that food and memory are just completely tangled up together, that every bite you take is like unlocking a little piece of who you are. It's a pretty poetic thought, isn't it? Every meal tells a story. And this is the question that just blows the whole story wide open. What happens when the past you're so sure you remember, the thing that makes you, turns out to be a complete and total lie, designed by someone else? This one question is the key to unlocking the whole insane mystery of Voss's soup puns. For Jake, life is all about precision, control. Every day is a perfect rhythm. But that control is about to absolutely shatter. Let's dig into that first moment, that tiny crack in his reality when he realizes something is deeply, terribly wrong with the world he thought he knew. You have to understand, this guy's life is a machine. He's there before dawn, goes through the same exact motions. It's a ritual. But then he gets to the broth. For weeks now, buried deep in this supposedly perfect soup, he keeps finding these little jagged fragments. And they're not from a chicken, they're not from a pig. They feel totally, completely wrong. And this isn't some one-time fluke. No, this is the 7th time. For 3 weeks straight, he's found them. He's been secretly fishing them out, collecting them in these little evidence bags, and he even bought a kit online to test them. The result? It's horrifying. They're human. So Jake is in the middle of this quiet, terrifying personal investigation, and it is about to get blown wide open. One morning, a journalist walks into the shop, a woman named Lena Voss, and she is the catalyst that is going to unearth a conspiracy that's been simmering right under his nose for years. And right here, you see this huge chasm between the official story and the truth. Publicly, it was a sad but simple case. A car accident on the highway, family vanished, case went cold. But Lena? She shows up with evidence that points to something way more sinister. A staged crash, a photo that was taken at a time that makes zero sense, and the real kicker, a hidden note. And there it is, the bombshell. These are the words of Lila Voss, Jake's sister, scribbled on a piece of paper. Just let that sink in. In one sentence, Jake's entire reality is vaporized. He's not Jake. He's something that was made. And his own sister apparently thought about killing him to keep his secret safe. That note was just the hook. The real, horrifying truth behind Jake's whole existence is laid bare in a secret diary that Lila kept. And let me tell you, the picture it paints is 1,000 times more terrifying. It turns out, this wasn't just some messed up family secret. Jake was the entire point of a clandestine experiment called the Vessel Project. It was run by this shadowy scientist, Dr. Elias, and his goal was absolutely chilling: to create a person whose entire life, their skills, their personality, their memories, was a complete fabrication. And Jake was supposed to be his masterpiece. So why? What's the logic here? Well, according to Elias's twisted philosophy, real memories, especially traumatic ones, were a bug, not a feature. To build his stable vessel, he had to just wipe the hard drive. Jake's entire real childhood, the trauma of losing his parents, it was all systematically erased and overwritten with a fake, safer, more controllable history. Lila's diary is basically a countdown to the project's catastrophic failure. It all started when Jake began having flashes, memories of things he shouldn't know. That sent Elias into a panic, and he activated something called the Purge Protocol. The plan was to stage the family's disappearance, but it all went sideways and spiraled into brutal murder. Following a clue from his adoptive father, Jake and Lena find themselves at this totally normal-looking house in Tacoma. It looks like it's just been frozen in time, like a movie set. But underneath the floorboards, that's where they find the heart of the experiment. A basement where the project secrets are, quite literally, on ice. And as they head down those stairs, it becomes clear this was never a home. It was a lab. They find patient logs that detail every step of Jake's conditioning, the actual files for the Purge Protocol, and then they see them. 3 industrial freezers, and sitting right next to them is a small cassette recorder holding Lila's final confession, recorded just moments before she died. And this is the absolute clinical horror of what's inside: the perfectly preserved bodies of Ronald and Marla Voss. And in the 3rd freezer, it's not a body. It's the dismembered remains of Lila. The tag on the jar just reads, Vessel 01 decommissioned. She's been treated like a failed experiment, her parts stored like a lab specimen to be analyzed later. On Lila's final tape, they hear his voice, Dr. Elias, and he explains his whole philosophy. To him, what he did wasn't murder. It wasn't torture. He saw it as a kind of liberation. He truly believed that by editing out trauma, he could sculpt a better, more perfect human being. It is the most chilling justification for pure evil you can imagine. After a final violent showdown with Elias right there in that basement, the police case is officially closed. But for Jake, the real horror is just beginning. I mean, if your name, your skills, your entire past are all just borrowed, what part of you is actually you? And this, of course, is the story the world gets. A nice, neat little bow on top of this absolute nightmare. Elias Crane, rogue scientist, a monster who's now dead. Case closed. It just completely ignores the terrifying reality of what the Vessel Project was and the fact that Jake's very existence is a question mark. So we're left with this massive, unsettling question. Jake has to live with the knowledge that everything he thought he was just programming. So when you strip all that away, is there anything real left underneath? What defines a person when their own memories are not their own? And this is the answer Lena gives him. It might not be everything, but it's powerful. The memories might have been fake, but his choices, his fear, his pain when he discovered the truth, all of that was 100% real. That, she tells him, is his identity. Not the past that was forced on him, but how he chose to face the world when it all fell apart.